Nothing I like more doing than playing a horror game on Halloween night. Probably the best things in the world. Right, let's just click on Dead Silence and play that. Your neighborhood retard? What? Video? What's he talking about? Wait, does he mean a video? What do you mean? Hollow. Oh no. Oh shit. Happy Halloween everyone, this is Carden Soups and welcome back to another Loomian Legacy video. In today's video, it's another HTUC video. My third one in fact, which is pretty good in my opinion. Because I'm very lazy and these videos barely pump out. So you get what you get, I guess. But I'm not here to rant on why I'm such a bad creator. I'm going to be telling you how to use this year's Halloween event, Loomian Nevermare. In my opinion, Nevermare is a really good Loomian and people don't give enough credit for what this thing can actually do. This thing has incredible stats, incredible moves, and an incredible role that it can play on many people's teams, if you know how to use it right. So, if you ever find this Loomian up against you on the Battle Coliseum, well, one thing that I can say is that you are going to have a very foolhardy time. So, this is how to use Nevermare. So for Nevermare's base stats, we have a pretty good spread. If you're wondering why I'm not at the set yet, I'm going to be covering the base stats first, because in order to really understand how to use a set, you need to understand what it can actually do. So for the base stats, you have 61 HP, 120 energy, 113 melee attack, 89 melee defense, 46 range attack, 110 range defense, and 111 speed. With this speed set, you can outspeed threats like Garlash, Vesperatu, Nightmare, Buzzlin, Volcalola, even Avatros. Yeah, basically you can outspeed a lot of stuff, and you can get out the first hit before they can attack you. And for its base defenses, they're actually pretty good. You have a base 89 melee defense and a base 110 range defense. While the health HP kind of looks like it makes these defenses bad, these defenses are actually Nevermare's strongest asset in its kit, allowing it to switch in on Loomians that would not normally you would be switching on and set up in their face. And I don't really need to be talking about the HP stat and the range defense stat. The range attack stat is kind of pathetic. And 113 melee attack, this is pretty good, although it's not on wall breaker level like Virulent, Wrestling, you know, those stuff. Valkyrie, Ikazune, well, Ikazune is not really good, but yeah, this melee attack stat is actually pretty good for an offensive cleaner, because most cleaners have base attack stats near the 100s, and this thing kinda has above average melee attack stats, so why not use it? And 120 energy is enormous. This thing can throw out a lot of moves thanks to this energy stat. Yeah, god, I can't speak. So yeah, an overall good stat spread for an offensive cleaner, and can definitely ruin your team if you're not careful. So let's get on to the typing advantages. So for Nevermare's type advantages. It has 4 resistances of water, earth, typeless, and plant, 0 immunities to brawler and light, and 1 major resistance to electric. Now, this is actually pretty good because being immune to 2 things is obviously a given good thing. I mean, look at Eclipse. Ticlipse, not the YouTuber, Ticlip. I mean, look at Ticlipse. Immune to dark and light, so it has insane utility right off the bat. But unlike Ticlipse, this thing actually resists stuff. Whoa! No way! So, it has resistances to water, earth, typeless, and plant, and a 4 times resist to electric. This thing is actually pretty good because for water, there are plenty of water types in the game, like Cephalops, Garlash, Luminami, that you can all switch in on, and since you are part plant type, you can threaten all of those. For earth resistances, there's Setimars, there's there's Setimars, there's Kyrex, all things that you can potentially set up on because you are resisted to those earth stabs. And typeless, not really a good weakness, I mean not a really good resistance to have, but it is kinda good for certain situations. I mean, you never know, you might find a Trumbull or a Mewtwo on your next battle and you might not have a resistance to typeless, so it's a plus either way. And your plant resistance, while there isn't that much plant types in the game, you can switch in on Chartiki, but I wouldn't do that because of reasons later. And yeah, and 1 major resistance of electric. Now this is pretty dandy because you can switch it on stuff like Protagon now because of your electric resistance, and you can switch in on other stuff that carries electric moves. And for immunities to brawler and light, this is probably the best asset of the typing advantages because brawler is a really good immunity to have, especially with the meta now, because if you didn't know, the meta is being dominated by Mutagon and Wrestlin, all stuff that are brawler moves, and brawler is probably the best typing in the game offensively, so you need something that either resists it or something that's immune to it. And for light immunities, while this isn't as important as the brawler immunities, light is a very strong typing now, especially because of the offensive boys like Valkyrie and Worst Valkyrie, Naimare, and being able to prevent pivots like Luminami from pivoting out to offensive options is always a given trait to have, a given good trait to have. However, these goodness stuff stop here with its typing disadvantages. So for its disadvantages, you have 5 weaknesses to fire, ice, dark, ancient, and spirit, and 0 major weaknesses. So if you're weak to ice, that's already kind of bad for you since you are now weak to icicle traps and Himber, and Himber's a really driving force in this metagame. And since you're weak to icicle trap, your momentum on your longevity is now cut in half, so that's not really good. And for dark, not dark, why did I put that there actually? It's not weak to dark, forget that. Being weak to fire, there are fire staples of the metagame like Infernix and Chartiki, but you're not going to be switching in on them a lot, so make sure to watch out for them. For ancient, you got stuff like Oxydrake, Zulang. Oxydrake and Zulang are like the only ancient types in the game, and you outspeed one of them, so that's good. While you do have to watch out for Zulang, you can try and outsmart Oxydrake by switching in on its neutral stab, and you can get some damage off like that and threaten it out. And for spirit types, You have stuff like Your Soul and Vesperatu that can threaten you with Shadow Sprint. While you do outspeed both of them, you do not have priority over them. So you're gonna take lots of damage before they do damage to you. But let's get on with the sets. So for the set that I only recommend, I have 36 TPs on HP, 56 TPs on energy, 200 TPs on melee attack, 8 leftover TPs on the range defense, and 200 speed. For the personality, you want nimble / nimble clumsy. It doesn't really matter what you get because your range attack sucks. So if you get clumsy, that doesn't really matter. And for nimble, you want to make yourself as fast as possible because you don't want nimble Vesperatu to outspeed you, or nimble Naimare. And for its ability, you want razor sharp. While the other ability is pretty cool, the ability to get a 50% crit rate with this thing is really good. And it kind of boosts up your low melee attack stat, so you're going to be deceptively hitting harder than most Lumians. For its moves, you want Thistle Slash, Phantom Slash, Primal Slash, and Bulk Up. There are no other moves that you want to replace. You only want these 4 core moves. Thistle Slash is your main plant stab, Phantom Slash is your main spirit stab, and your Primal Slash is just a leftover of your moveset. There's not really other moves to replace Primal Slash, but it's good to have anyway. And for items, you have Power Cuffs and Health Amulet. Power Cuffs / Health Amulet, sorry. For Power Cuffs, you can either use this because your energy is a lot. You have a lot of energy to use, so using Power Cuffs would be really good. And you can either use Health Amulet because you do have a low HP stat, but since you have Bulk Up and really good bulk, you can also try the setup method against other Lumians and try to sweep that way. 56 energy is to throw out 1 Bulk Up and 5 Thistle Slashes, I think. It's either 5 Thistle Slashes or 5 Phantom Slashes. And the 36 energy, the 36 HP I mean, is to make yourself have an odd amount of energy. Odd amount of HP, oh my god. An odd amount of HP, because if you didn't know, if you have an odd amount of TPs on your energy stat, you are going to have an odd HP stat because Loomian Legacy engines around your decimals down. So that means when you're rounding your decimals down, Icicle Trap's 1/4 damage being taken on you will also round down, meaning that it will become 1/5. So you're going to be taking 1/5 of the damage of Icicle Traps instead of 1/4. Now that's pretty good. Loomian Legacy should do something about that, but they're not doing anything, so we're good. The 200 speed is to make you as fast as possible, and 200 melee attack is to make you hit as hard as possible. No really need to get in depth here. And the ATPs on the range defense stat is just leftovers. You can put them on the melee defense stat if you really want to. It doesn't really matter where you put these TPs because it doesn't affect the overall set. I would keep it on range defense though, because you are going to get bulk ups anyway, so your melee defense is already going to get high. So you don't really need to do anything there. So let's get on with the counters. So probably one of the best counters for Nevermare is Seer Knight. Seer Knight resists Thistle Slash and Primal Slash. While it does not resist Phantom Slash, it has Terrifying, so it can cut Nevermare's attack in half and then beat you up that way. Plus, Seer Knight does have Flaming Kick, so your not going to be taking one hit from this thing. Serenite is very strong, and since its Flaming Kick is super effective, you're gonna die instantly. And for other stuff that don't check you as hard are Swolder and Chartiki. While Swolder, yes, you can bulk up on the Swolder switch in and then bulk up once more so Swolder does less damage. Swolder can either poison you or pestilence you, meaning that you're going to be trapped in with it and it can get a free switch to whatever it wants. And you do not want that because it can either be a sweeper trying to sweep your team or something even stronger. And for Chartiki, unlike Swolder, you cannot bulk up against Chartiki, and Chartiki has good enough defenses to take your neutral moves against it. So you're not gonna want to face that a lot, and plus Chartiki has Fire Breath. And for Hunder and Zulong, those are not really checks per se. No, those are not really hard checks per se, but these things are faster and can hit you with super effective moves. For Zulong, it can hit you with Elemental Burst. Even though Thunder Strike is 4 times resisted, you do not want to switch it on this thing. This thing will eat you alive. And that's not a really common thing with Zulong, because Zulong's a pile of garbage. I mean, okay, let's get on with Hunder. Hunder can hit you with Blaze Chomp. However, if you do get like 4 bulk ups, which is like theoretically impossible, you can tank a Blaze Chomp and you can try and kill this thing. But I wouldn't try that. If you see a Hunter switching in on you, switch out straight away. Let's get on with abusing Loomians. Yes. So for the Loomians that you can abuse stuff like Luminami, Naimare, Tyrex, and Eclipse. God damn it, Eclipse, I mean. For Luminami, no matter what set you're running for Luminami, you are going to get destroyed by Nevermare. If you're running the range set, Nevermare has a high enough range defense to tank your hits. First off, it's immune to Gamma Pulse, and second of all, it's resisting your water stat. So Maroon's not doing a lot to this thing, and it's immune to Gamma Pulse. So don't even try. And for melee Luminami, you can try and run Chili Chomp, but Chili Chomp's not really good on this thing because Mega Chomp, Thunder Chomp, and Hydro Slash do enough damage already. However, Nevermare resists Hydro Slash and Thunder Chomp, but it is neutral to Mega Chomp. But remember, Luminami is defensive, so it has no offensive investment. So you are going to be taking this out pretty easily, and you can set up bulk ups in its face. So that's another plus. For Naimare, like Luminami, you are immune to Gamma Pulse, but you are neutral to Air Blade. But since you are faster and you do tank 3 Air Blades at the least from Naimare, you can set up on this thing and pose a threat to the opponent's team. For Tyrex, while it does have Terrifying, so it can lower your defense, you can lower your attack, you do have bulk up, and you do resist Earthquake, so you're gonna be doing a lot of damage to this thing, and you can set up on Tyrex. While Steel Crusher is immune, no, it is neutral to you, Tyrex is not gonna have investment like Luminami, so you don't really need to be worried about that. And for Eclipse isn't really a threat to you because 1, you resist Luminous Roar and Gamma Pulse, and 2, you resist Raging Howl. So you can switch in on Eclipse a lot of the time, and probably can switch in on this forever. And since these 4 are so common in the metagame, you can be switching and switching on Loomians like these all the time. And you can get away with it because they have no answers other than the Loomians I said before. So let's get on with the others. While you can't abuse these Loomians as much, you can do a massive damage to them, mainly to Sedimars and Cephalops. So for Sedimars, you can switch in on its Earthquake and its Thunder Chomp, but if it does choose to run Blaze Chomp, you have to be wary about switching in and on this, because Hasty Sedimars is very strong. Even for a wall, Sedimars is very strong. And for Mutagon, I don't really need to explain this. Same goes for Wrestling. Mutagon and Wrestling are brawler types, and you are immune to the brawler typing. So you can switch in on their Mega Punches or their Adaptive Assaults. However, you have to be worried about Wrestling, because Wrestling does 2-shot you with Fire Punch, and Mutagon can 2-shot you with Telekinetic Sweep. And for Cephalops, you can switch in on its Tsunami, and yeah, you can basically switch in on that. However, Soul Drain is a 3-hit KO, so while you don't die in one hit to Cephalops, you do take a lot of damage, even with Health Amulet. So I would be wary about all of these 4. While you can do damage to these 4, I wouldn't recommend switching on these unless you are really confident and you are on a last resort. So let's get on with the teammates. So for these guys' teammates, you have Valkyrie, Luminami, Nevermare, and Tyrex. Basically the core 3 from the stuff you can switch in on, but Valkyrie's not there. So basically, the light types are your friend. They resist the spirit typings, so actually they're immune to spirit. So they can switch in on spirit types and they're immune to it, so they soak up the hit, and you can either switch out to something else or you can either stay in and do some damage. For Valkyrie though, you resist the bug typing, you resist the ice typing, and you resist ancient, and you are immune to spirit. So you are covering 4 weaknesses of Nevermare. For Luminami, basically the same thing as Valkyrie, but you are not resisting bug. And for Nevermare, basically the same things as those, and you are also resisting bug. And for Tyrex, it's a metal type. While it isn't as good as these 3, Tyrex does resist ice and bug, so there you go. And I wouldn't use Tyrex mainly because it is weak to fire, and that means you're both sharing a weakness to fire, and yeah, that's not really good. Oh, and Luminami resists fire by 4 times, so yeah, Luminami is basically your best friend. And if you want to use Valkyrie too as like your wall breaker to help you sweep, then go ahead. And for Loomians that benefit from you being on their team, you have Valkyrie, Luminami, Cephalops, Vanillin, Protagon, Infernix, and Vesperatu. Vesperatu being the main one because you resist Brawler, although that's not really important. But the most important thing here is you're immune to light. So things like Cephalops and Vesperatu and spirit types / dark types in general will love your presence on your team, because you are really good and you can switch in on the light types that threaten these dark types. And for Luminami and Valkyrie is actually weak to earth and electric, so you being able to resist earth by 2 times and being able to resist electric by 4 times, you're doing Valkyrie a solid favor. For Luminami, you are weak to electric, so you being able to switch in on electric types for Luminami and Valkyrie is a really good plus. And since Luminami and Valkyrie do help you a lot, you can help them in return, so you do make really good team synergy if you have those on your team. For Venolin, you are resisting Earth for it. Same thing goes for Protagon and Infernix. And yeah, so those are the Lumians that benefit from you being around. So all in all, Nevermare is a very good Loomian that deserves a lot more attention than I think it's gonna get. And all in all, it is... So Nevermare is, in my opinion, a really good Loomian. Being able to be immune to light and brawler, and being able to resist electric, water, plant, and earth is a very good type combination for this thing. While its weaknesses does hinder it from performing to its maximum potential, you have strong teammates like Valkyrie and Luminami that can help your back while you get their back too. So if you put this with the right set of Lumians, you are going to be amazing. Instead of Lumians supporting it, Nevermare supports the Lumians that are on the team with it. So it's not just a one-way relationship, it's a two-way relationship for Nevermare. And all in all, this thing's really a good. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video, of course, and subscribe if you're into that too. It supports the channel and it helps me grow as a content creator, and it spreads the news of this video. So make sure you do that. And for one final thing, join my Discord, it's on the description. People are forcing me to do karaoke again, so if you want to see that, go ahead and do that. And comment down below if you have any conflicting opinions about Nevermare. And yeah, that's basically it. Oh, and remember, Zulang's still a garbage dump fire. Do not use the dumpster fire Loomian. Don't use it, 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 don't use it.